at least some of the prominent leaders helped the black movement there. It is not because of them, but they are also instrumental. John F. Kennedy, who introduced the civil rights movement, was shot dead because he introduced civil rights movement. And subsequently, Robert Kennedy, who was also shot dead, who was the brother of John F. Kennedy, and he was expected to be the next president of US. So to that stature, we can't find any leaders who take up the cause of the Dalits among the non-Dalits. So I told him, not that I wanted him to be the champion and lose his life, but at least to you should be ashamed of it. I told him on his face. Then on a reply to such a discussion, I said special component plan which is not implemented, Dalits are not getting their due share, which is very much there in the plan design. So he said, keep talking about it, one day it will come. So this is a strategy that they involve us, keep talking about it. There is no harm, because there is a greater debate and we will forget about it. See, if the tsunami comes, then we will forget about all our differences, all our deliberations. For some time, we will forget about it. Maybe the state creates debates. For example, I read in a paper that the Kudangalam incident, there is a protest going on, a year-long protest, and every now and then there is some new topic is introduced because the price rise, petrol rise, all that becomes very, creates waves. So people temporarily forget. So if we really want the Dalits to forget their present problems, all that they need to do is go and shoot at Paramakudi, 6 people, they die. So we'll be all at the back of this, so get 5 lakhs for each family, CBI inquiry. So the major dialogue, we will really forget about it. So the government knows how to engage us, how to engage the scholars, how to engage the activists, how to engage the small political leaders. So the state apparatus is there, because when I heard Mr. Sridharan mentioning about Brahminical, non-Brahminical, I said, what is? Of course, for the state apparatus, there is an alternative. What is that alternative? We need to discover that. But it is definitely non-Brahmin, because by non-Brahmin, they are also non-Dalits. So what is the class non-Brahmin, non-Dalit? What is your philosophy, first of all? Are you the theory? What is the theory that supports the middle class to come up, subjugate the lower class, and also keep the upper class happy? What kind of a theory is this? I don't find in political theory the theory that uplifts the middle class, leaving the lower class. So there should be some other component. Dalit, Brahminical versus Dalit. There is no non-Brahmin. Brahmin versus Dalit. There is a Dalit state. What is that Dalit state? So it is not only constitutional safeguards. Of course, there are, a paper was presented about constitutional safeguard. One is the SC/ST Atrocities Act. That act was discussed very well. It was a very good paper. And he was lamenting that only 90% cases are, let out without any punishment. But in Tamil Nadu it is worse. It's 93%. Only 7% people are punished. And more often, he was worried that the SPs and the collectors are not aware of the act. They are aware to that extent, they want to vote against it. When PMK Ramdas took a campaign that the SC/ST Atrocity Act is not, expressing the aspirations of the common people, and it is misused. The term he used is, it is misused. It should be withdrawn. So that was his campaign. So we put the campaign board on one of the sessions, because if I talk, it will be elaborate. It it will take a lot of time, so I'll just say it was in a forum. We displayed this board and asked the collectors and SPs to vote. Most of the people voted for the act to be withdrawn. And we asked them, see, why you have voted for it? Then they said, because it's misused. Who's misusing? People are misusing. After all, you have appointed the DSP as an inquiry officer. If at all somebody is misusing, the police is misusing. Common people can have no say in the matter. They can just only give a complaint, lodge a complaint. Whether the complaint is true or not, the DSP has to inquire and frame FIR. How come people can misuse this? Okay. When was the Act introduced? 1989. And we were at the, I think 2001, this workshop was going on. All these years, only 2,000 cases were registered. In Tamil Nadu, there are 17,000 police stations. Sorry, 1,700 police stations. Each police station per month, one case, if you register, you can calculate how many cases should have been registered. It was not at all used properly, so we had to explain to them. And another thing is this practice of caste, because therefore the constitutional safeguards are not really put into use. If there is a AC machine installed but it is not working, what is the use? Similarly, there are many constitutional safeguards, but they are not put into practice. And I heard another discussion that there are movements working for the grabbing of land or retrieval of their land in the villages. They are not movements. There are small protests by the local villages. A movement has a character which is, it plans, it works out strategies, it creates literature, it takes up campaigns, and it works towards policy change. It's not just one village, you probably retrieve your land, but by one stroke you are able to promulgate or able to implement the Land Reform Act all over the country. So if it is a Brahminical state, they are passing a law, Land Reforms Law or Land Sealing Act. Anybody, I don't know, in this forum had gone behind the discussions which enabled this legislation to be enacted? Because I have not come across any documents on that. Now this Land Sealing Act, when it was first introduced, it says people should be left with minimum 30 standard acres. 30 standard acres means one standard acre is 3 acres. So a family of 5 should have 90 acres. What logic is this? Who's behind this enactment of that law? And how did you arrive at it? There is no information available. It is a Brahminical law. If it is a Dalit law, it will say all the landless, irrespective of the caste, whoever is dependent on land or agriculture, they will have minimum 2 acres or at least a family of 5 acres. So a state which is not thinking about a major section of the society, I should call major, because the workforce comes from, major workforces from the Dalits. So the major section of the society they ignore and they enact law which is beneficial to the few or the continuation of the Brahminical order. So even the non-Brahmins ruled, because they say land is a state subject, state can enact laws, but the non-Brahmins who are ruling, they are also not bothered about it, because all the marginal small landholders now are backward classes or most backward, and the big landholders are upper caste. So they work close connection and they siphon most of the funds as loan, agricultural loans, 17,000 crores were written off. And Dalits were no party to it. There are major resources in the country. We don't have access. Even if we have access, there is no way that we can make use of it. There is Metro Dam. Whether water comes or not, how do we bother? It doesn't benefit us. Yeah, we don't have lands to irrigate next to the Ayakat. If the ponds are dry, let them go to hell. We don't have lands. At the same time, we don't get the loan, we don't get the free water, we don't get the free electricity. So we are thoroughly kept out of the major economic system of this country, because 72% is still in agriculture and we don't have lands and we are not able to draw benefits. So the Dalits are kept away from the major economic activity of the country. What kind of a discrimination is this? What kind of an untouchability is this? So the untouchability, generally when I have interaction with people, normal people, because they call themselves normal, we are abnormal, because we probe, we ask, we question, and we are serious people, and whereas they are normal. So normal gets explained in several ways. So they say there is no casteism now, and maybe it is in the villages. So how ignorant they are. And I really wonder, a religion which is not preaching universal love, how can they have as a base of their belief? The religious belief comes out of not universal love, out of Chatur Varna. So it's really, that's what I said, we are used to this dual life, because we call ourselves intellectuals, but our beliefs are so, imbibed in tradition and superstitious beliefs, we don't even question it. And we say, okay, intercaste marriage is good. When it comes to our family, we stick to our tradition. What kind of a life